All right, so that 800 number that I gave you, extension 123, that is a toll-free extension tracking. This is a phenomenal tool. Every property that I put up for rent, if I remember to, we had one of these extensions. And what it does is, if I record a message on 123, like I just did for you guys, if you call and dial 223, you get the same recording. If you dial 323, you get the same recording. 423, 523. So the neat thing is, let's say it's a rental property, and I had an extension, and you can even listen to this if you want, 147. Well, 147 is going to be on the sign that I put in the yard. 800-565-2160, extension 147. If somebody calls that extension, I get a text message that says, this phone number called 147. Now I have somebody I can call right back. If you call that number, if anybody calls that number right now, I'll get a text message instantly. Tells exactly what extension. Now, if I put an ad on Craigslist, I can put out there 247. In this case, 247. Well, if there's a 2 in the front of it, then I kind of allocate 2 in my head as, okay, that's Craigslist. So now I know it came from Craigslist. So you can really track what's working, especially if you're paying. Like you're paying for a newspaper ad. Let's say you're going to put it on Craigslist and put it in the newspaper. Wouldn't it be nice to know if that newspaper ad, people have to still read that thing? Or if free Craigslist works better? Well, if you're going to pay, what's a newspaper ad run? I haven't done it in a while. What's a newspaper ad run for a rental run these days? Does anybody know? How much? $85. 85 for 2 weeks. Okay. So if I'm paying $85 and I use this system, wouldn't it make sense to know, like, is that $85 worth it? If you put it on Craigslist and the newspaper, and all of a sudden, all of your ads come from Craigslist, now you know, forget spending $85. I know that those calls aren't coming from there. I'll give you an example. I had a Yellow Page salesperson come in, and he wanted us to put an ad in the Yellow Pages for our We Buy Houses business. So we're going to put the ad there, and it's going to go in front of all the realtor ads. And I wrote it was $1,000 for the year. It's $1,000 bucks. So I wanted to have a unique phone number to track that. So it was, I think it was extension 109 I put out there. So I run the 800 number, extension 109, and it was right ahead of all the realtors. So under the Yellow Pages where it said realtors, or real estate agents, right before the first one appeared, here was our ad. Warning, before you even think about listing with a realtor, consider the no-cost, hassle-free alternative. That was the ad. We got 7 calls. The guy comes in my office after me spending $1,000 and waiting a year. He comes back into the office because you can't change. Once they've released that year's issue, you're done, right? So he comes back in after the year and he says, "I'm here to renew your Yellow Page ad. Would you like to renew?" And I said, "I don't know. Let me check." I go run a report. The report says I got 7 calls the whole year to that extension. 7 calls. I know for a fact I bought no properties off that ad. He said, "Well, your message was just a little too harsh." I said, "I don't know. Let me check." I have an office on Route 309 in north of Montgomeryville. We get 48,000 cars per day at this office. I have the same exact ad on the front of that building. I don't have it anymore, but I did at one point. We opened a real estate brokerage, so I thought it'd be politically correct to take that. But the ad said, "Warning, before you even think about listing with the agent, consider the no-cost, hassle-free alternative." Same exact ad, different extension 309, because we're on Route 309. I had 142 phone calls, and I know that I bought 3 houses off of that. So, $1,000. He said he didn't even know. He didn't say anything. He just put his tail between his legs and walked out the door. And that was a result of tracking. So here's the site, adtracker.net, adtracker.net. Freedom Voice, I think, is the name of the company. I think freedomvoice.com. Probably easy to remember that way anyway. So you got an 800 number, and it'll replicate across multiple extensions. You record your voice once. It says, "Hey, thanks for calling about a 3-bedroom in so-and-so development." Whether they call extension that begins with a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, they get the same exact message, but you get to track where they came from, which is important. The message, I've never run out of room. I actually have a message on there that's probably about 6-7 minutes long that, thanks for calling about selling your house. Let me tell you about how our company works and the most frequently asked questions that people ask us about how we buy houses. And I have a really long question and answer session, might be 6 minutes long. But the other neat thing is, with any of these messages, you can see how long they stayed on the call. So if I let's say I run it and I put pre-screening criteria in, how many people take all the phone calls from tenants when they call them? The tenant calls, you take all the calls coming in. Again, you're saying, yeah, it's 3 bedrooms, no, we don't allow pets, or we do allow pets. They ask all the same questions. So I just put it on a recording, I let the recording pre-screen it. We need a 680, well now 620 credit score or above. You need to have 3 times the rent and income. We're looking for clean, responsible people who pay their bills on time. If they hang up at that point, and I've ran reports and you can see okay, it looks like they're all hanging up around 30 seconds or 32 seconds. Go listen to the message. What's at 32 seconds? Oh, that's where I say the credit score. So some interesting things that you can pick up just from the tracking of things. How often do I actually track it? Not as often as I might, but as I want to. But at the same time, for spending money, marketing dollars, it's a wonderful tool. You're sending out letters, you can put an extension. You're sending out postcards, another extension. Which one pulled better, the letter or the postcard? So when you're buying or when you're renting, they're both great tools. Okay, what do we got? You want something out of the grab bag? This is kind of neat. Regular lockbox, right? Just a combination, $12 at mfssupply.com. You want to write that down? You can have it for like $10 sometimes. mfssupply.com just for a regular lockbox. Not a lot of technology going on there. This is a smart lockbox. This is made. This company is NewSet. We actually have another company that we're courting right now for these. The lockbox can store 500 different lockbox codes. Here's the neat thing. When somebody uses the code, you assign that code to somebody when they call up. They can use that code. The moment they use it, it'll self-destruct within an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever you set. Most of mine are an hour. So I have a code here that's my code that will always, it always gets me in the door forever. The codes that I give out, if they try to take somebody else to that property, let's say the next day, the next evening, whatever, they put in the code, blocks them out. Not only does it block them out, but it records which codes were tried and if they failed or if they were successful. So I can actually see that they tried it the following day. So, yeah, they're interested, or they like what was inside so much. Or they inventoried the copper tubing and saw that it was worth coming back.
Where do you see it, on the smartphone?
This one is a USB thumb drive. You actually stick a USB thumb drive in there. But I just this one's a NewSet, N-U-S-E-T. I think it's newset.com, and it has a different. This is the other neat thing. How many people have gotten lockboxes stolen? Realtors probably. There's realtors in the room. You've had this happen a million times. This has a separate shackle code, so it's got a separate code to take the shackle off. It's just an old-fashioned combination thing. But then the digital code, and if the battery dies, which it seems like this one did, it actually has a little external power supply thing that you can plug in, like just a couple AA batteries, pop it in there, and it gives it enough juice that you can get back in. These are like, I think like $70, $69.99.
You let anybody go in the house?
There's another lockbox. I pre-screen it. Like we do a lot of, depending on if the house has occupied and has somebody else's stuff in it. Of course, I won't let them go in the house. But if it's a vacant house, a lot of times I do. A lot of times I'll let them. Now the new lockbox that I just ordered, it's let me see. I'll break out here with this company. This is. Now these are, I think, tenants that made this company, and they don't understand maybe some of the dangers that would be involved in just giving anybody. This isn't even you contacting them. This site, Rentoy, RENTOY.com. They actually have a lockbox they put on the property. person walks up to it, they get a code off of the sign, and it captures their phone number and it captures their GPS position to know that they're at the property, and it automatically just sends them a lockbox code. So to me, it's like, I don't know, that's a little, it's a little too close for comfort to just have anybody walking by go lockbox. Now you do get their cell phone number, but still, this company actually has these lockboxes that this is it here, where it's an algorithm. It's a one-time use code. It self-destructs, and then the new code is given out, and it's all algorithmic. You don't have to. The nice thing about it is you don't have to program it. You don't have to do anything like that. It's already pre-programmed. This one you got to put 500 codes in, and then remember which one did I give out. Check it off a list. So I think there's a little more security in at least talking to the person and letting them, But a lot of times I will say, go ahead. What kind of car are you driving? Because I have the neighbors keeping an eye on the property. Just make sure you call me as soon as you get out, so I know it's all locked up. Because I don't want the neighbors saying that there's a car there. And, tell me what car you're going to be driving. So I will let them. I've never had a refrigerator or anything stolen before. I have had properties listed on MLS that beautiful granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, and somebody came in and stole the copper. It's like, geez, take the fridge or something. So, yeah. Stole the copper. What's that? No, well, there was a little bit of water in the basement. I don't know. I didn't even see it afterwards. My contractor. A realtor called me and said that the lockbox was that there's no signs of forced entry. The key was still in the lockbox, and the copper was missing. And you better get somebody over here. So I sent my contractor down. It was like $800 later. I put all the copper back in and all that stuff. It's painful. Only happened once, yeah. I'm actually thinking if anybody wants to go in on a group buy, I think we should all buy PEX Inside stickers, and just put the stickers on the front window. I don't know if they'll allow us. It's like putting a security alarm. Yeah, I don't want the alarm. Just give me the sticker. All right. How about another website resource? Somebody keep track of which one we're doing. All right, this one's interesting. Just so you know, I have enough ADD to diagnose two people, so if I just switch gears, it's by design. This is what makes this presentation great. I can just hop around anywhere I want. Rentmonitor.com. This is a startup company. It's really interesting. I'm following. I signed up for them, and you can place your property in there. It's $2 per. They do like automatic clearinghouse, ACH, where they'll actually have your automatically wire money from your tenant's bank account to yours, assuming your tenants have bank accounts. But it automatically does that for like $2 a month. So for $2 a month, essentially $2 per unit, you can manage your properties on here. It'll take a payment from them. If they give you cash, or they send a manual check in the mail, you can say payments received. It'll shoot them back an email that says, we got your payment, thank you very much. It'll take pictures of your property. It'll make them real pretty so that you can cut and paste them right into Craigslist and have 20-some pictures of the property, not just the 4 or whatever that Craigslist limits you to. So it does that. It's pretty neat. It gives you, it's a management console that allows for multiple portfolios too. So I own properties with about, I would say, 5 different people that I have joint ventured with in different properties. So I can actually set up a portfolio of properties that Phil and I own together, and then set ones that Don and I own together, or whatever. And each of these people can get into that particular portfolio, but they can't see the others. So I can see all the ones that I'm involved in. The next guy can see the ones that he's involved in, and I'm involved in. Maybe there's one that 3 people are involved in. All 3 can see that one. So it's kind of a neat way to have online access to see who's paid the rent, who hasn't paid the rent. Neat little graphs to say these people owe you money, these people don't. So it's a neat resource. Check it out. I think it's they give you like 1 property for free. You can just put 1 property in there, and rentmonitor.com.
What's it cost?
$2 per transaction. So if you're collecting rent from if you have a 4-unit building, it's going to cost you $8 for that every month. If they don't pay, hey, it only costs you $6. That's that? 200. This is an application. It's available on the iPhone and on Android and even Windows Mobile. I put a couple question marks there, and I don't even know if anybody has Windows Mobile. But scan to PDF. It allows you to take. I can pretty much walk up to a piece of paper. Let's say it's a receipt, because I don't feel like putting receipts in a shoebox. I can just stand over top of a receipt. It essentially takes a picture of it, converts it to a PDF, and emails it to you. So now that you have that email, you can label it anything you want. I usually just send it to my Gmail, throw that receipt away. Now I have an electronic copy stored under, Home Depot receipt, whatever it is. So it does multiple pages. So you can take a picture and then say page 2, take a picture, page 3, take a picture, boom, send it. That's a really great way. Like even if it's let's say you're sitting there with a seller, it's a purchase and sale agreement. You fill out the purchase and sale agreement, you take a snap of it, you send it to the seller. They're sitting right next to you and say, what's your email address? I'll send a copy of this to you. I'm going to copy my title company on it so they can order title. Boom, boom, send. I just ordered title, send a copy to the seller. I'm out the door. It's pretty cool. So that's,
Where do you get that at?
it's at the App Store. You can look for it. Here's a link to their website. bit.ly, scan to PDF. I'll tell you what bit.ly is. Maybe I need to find that so I can explain it better.
So how's the IRS feel about scanned in versus the originals?
How's the IRS feel? I don't know. They've never expressed any content or discontent with me. I think that's a question for. Yeah, okay. So just scratch this throughout the paperwork file. Stick it in your shoebox as well, all wrinkled up. But at least as when I look at it with Gmail, or I use Gmail with email, it's really easy for me to find stuff by name, by keyword, by date. I can say, oh, that receipt was from this date, and that was during the time that I was fixing up this property, so that must go with that property. Now the receipts, they fade. I use Home Depot as an example. That's a great example of fading receipts. They just go away. They just, they self-destruct. So if you want to keep that paper copy, by all means keep it. I just as soon take that picture. I know I have it in my Gmail. I email it to myself.
No, I still love the idea. I'm just taking it.
I don't know.
How much is it?
It's probably, I don't know, $5, $6, $7. It's $7 on what? Was that an iPhone?
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably free on Android.
Free. Free too.
Yeah. There's a couple apps. Most of the apps that I'll give out are free. There's a couple that I think are well worth the money. And this if there is a small charge for it, I would say that's one. There's a free version, I think. But most of them, like the way the apps work, they have a light version and they have a pro version. So maybe they have advertising on the one, or maybe they have a limitation to 1 page or 2 pages. But this is one that definitely would, if it was $10, $20, I would spend the money for it. The alternative is you could take something like this, which is which somebody got me as a gift, and I don't even use it because I use that. But this is like a little portable hand scanner that you turn it on, you just wipe it across the piece of paper, and it stores it into a little micro card that you can then plug into your laptop, or in this case, the card's the same size that you can fit into an Android phone. iPhone, I'm still looking for the port for that. I can't find it. But no, you can plug this into some phones and then just send it right from there. This is probably the higher quality because it's a real scanner. You're scanning right over the piece of paper. But having your phone. I mean, how many people use their phone for a flashlight now? You're going through a house, you go to the basement, you turn on your little LED flashlight. That thing's bright as anything. So, as much stuff as I can have technology-wise on my phone, it's ubiquitously available. This thing, oh yeah, let me go get that in my backpack or something. So the cost of these are what, $150, something like that, for a little scanner like this. The cost of the app for $10 or whatever it is I think it's a small price to pay for just the convenience of that technology. Quality-wise, I'll tell you, it beats running to find a copy shop and going to get a copy. A lot of people, you're signing paperwork with them, you want to provide them a copy on the spot. So your options are what? Have 2 copies and sign both. The other option is get that carbonless paper and get stuff printed up, you know, who does that anymore? And, you know, I like the idea of just snapping with my phone, I'll send it to both. When I get back to the office, I'll make a photocopy, I'll mail you, you know, a true copy, but at least you have something that you can share with other people in PDF. I'll go down to apps too, because there's another app that I want. How many people use Dropbox? This actually is a website or a cell phone app or on your computer. It's everywhere. But this is another thing that's great for sharing files. I have this little netbook computer, you know, it's a little $200, like, you know, throw it in my, you know, throw it down at the beach computer. But I also have a desktop computer at home, I have a desktop computer at the office, I have another office next door to that office, and I have a desktop computer. So Dropbox is a way that I can save a file. If I save something in my Dropbox, it replicates to all those computers, all of them. All I have to do is install Dropbox on that computer and it's there. On my cell phone, there's a Dropbox application. If I had a file on my computer and I needed to get it to an attorney today, oh my gosh, and I'm not by my computer, I could just log into my Dropbox, find that file here, and forward it to the attorney right from my cell phone, even though I made the file on my computer. It automatically synchronizes. So, even if you don't have multiple computers, just the fact that it backs up to the cloud, it backs up to the internet on Dropbox's website, allows you to go to any computer, log on to Dropbox's website, and all those files that you save, you can go take a look at. And yes, they have all the security encryption and all that stuff that, you know, that everybody has, everybody else has.
What do they charge for that?
Dropbox is free. It's they have upgrade paths, so you get so much data for free, and you know it's kind of like it's kind of like the self-storage business model. You know, we'll give you the 4x6 the first month free, but we'll give you the 4x6. But if you want to upgrade to the 10x10 storage unit, it's going to cost you more. You know, so it's just like that. People store, you store a bunch of stuff in Dropbox, and then you want to upgrade, you got to pay extra to upgrade. There was a program when it first came out. I'm pretty much like an early adopter of some of this technology stuff, and when it first came out, and they still do have a referral program that if you refer it to a bunch of friends, you get like 250 megabytes extra. Your friend gets it for you referring them, and you get it for referring them. So it's almost like you both get it. So when it first came out, I wrote like a blog post about it. I sent it out there, and I think it started out at 2 gigs, and I got up to 10 gigs for free, just at 250 megs a time. So every 4 people, I got an extra gig. So, you know, I got a bunch of referrals, now I have 10 gigs. You can, you know, I think that the upgrade might be $2 a month or $5 a month. Very, very small. But like I said, even if you have one computer and just want to back up your computer, this is a great way. You store everything in your Dropbox on your computer. So instead of putting in My Documents, it would be My Documents Dropbox. Now that it's in Dropbox, it automatically backs it up. You don't need to worry about it. So it's you know, I've even used it with QuickBooks, where I put my QuickBooks file in Dropbox, and I can have QuickBooks running on multiple computers and be able to pull up that shared file. Not at the same time, but I can pull, you know, I can go home and pull it up on QuickBooks and, you know, open it up.
Do you have an external hard drive?
I don't have an external, that is my external hard drive. Dropbox is my external hard drive. And what if Dropbox, you know, falls off the face of the earth? Well, remember, there's multiple computers that I have it replicating to. So any one of my other computers is my external hard drive for the computer I'm working on. Because as soon as I finish that file and hit save, Dropbox says, hey, this file's changed, we need to replicate it. It sends it over to Dropbox to the cloud. The other computer says, oh wow, I see there's a new file out there on Dropbox. It pulls it down, and now that file is now on your home computer, on your work computer, you know, on your laptop, on your cell phone. It doesn't actually store the files on your cell phone. Your cell phone has to go out and get them, bring them back. But you know, it automatically, your other computers act as your external hard drive.
And you still can get it from one of the desktops?
Your cell phone just pulls it from Dropbox, from the cloud. There's a service, there's a couple services I use with Log Me In. Has anybody heard of Log Me In? That's where you can remotely access your computer from another place and take control of the keyboard and the screen. Go to My PC used to be the popular one. Log Me In, it's great. I can have like 10 computers on there, and each one of them I click on, and now all of a sudden I'm controlling that computer. I can see what was on the screen, what's on the screen. I can type on the keyboard. I use it even for like my in-laws to help them troubleshoot their computer. You install log me in, and I'll just log into it, if I need to help you out with something on the computer. Yeah, that's a great service. So that's really what I use if I need to log into a computer to grab something. But as long as I save it in Dropbox, I don't need to do that. As long as, Dropbox is still around. I actually did have like in the technology resource page that I gave out for this presentation. I did this presentation on a Jack Miller cruise. If anybody heard of Jack Miller? He had a memorial cruise after he died, real estate investors cruise. And I taught, did this presentation. And I took out like several of the resources because some of these startup companies, they never get the revenue model put together, and then they run out of their venture capital money, and then they go out of business. Google didn't have that problem. Dropbox, they're making money now too. So it's some of these things, the technology's there, it's a great idea. They don't get the revenue down to stay in business. So I had to take off some of these, but anyway. All right. So that's Dropbox.com. And there's it's a website. There's also the phone app. It's on iPhone. It's on Android, and there's no charge for that app. It's free. If you use too much space, they're gonna charge you for the extra space. But I haven't run out. Another alternative to that, they just Google saw what Dropbox was doing, and they merged. Google had something called Google Docs. Google Docs was pretty much like an online version of Word and Excel. So you could modify files. Multiple people could work on files at the same time. So I could be typing in, cell number A1, and somebody else could be typing in cell number C2, and we both see each other typing. It's all a web-based, word processor, web-based Excel spreadsheet. That was cool, and you could share those files and stuff, but they really didn't reside on your personal computer. You could download them, but they didn't reside on your personal computer. Google saw what Dropbox was doing. And now Google changed Google Docs. It's called Google Docs, like Google Documents. They changed it to now it's called Google Drive. Google Drive now has all the same functionality where you can modify things simultaneously, but now you can install it and have it replicate across your computers. So they just pretty much stole Dropbox's idea, integrated, and Google's an 800-pound gorilla, so they I was surprised they just didn't buy out Dropbox, but I guess they didn't need to. There's nothing really, patented there, whatever. So, okay. Who wants to select another one? Anyone? Places at the end of which one are 300? Domain names. Even more so than I collect phone numbers, that I have a lot of real estate on the internet. I own a lot of domain names. And most of them are just parked doing nothing. It's just like land, vacant land, you pay the taxes on it, it's just sitting there, but one day a developer's gonna come along and buy that thing, right? Such as domain names. I mean, I have some domain names that, I have some really good ones, I have some ones that, I had for particular purposes, but domain names, I buy them all through Google, and Google has a website that allows you for $10 a year, you get a domain name, your own domain name. It also gives you privacy protection. So if you just buy a domain name from GoDaddy for like $7, you can get domain names cheaper than $10. But this gives you the domain name plus the privacy. And they actually resell it from GoDaddy. So if anybody has domains to GoDaddy, I would say get it from Google Apps, you get all the benefits of GoDaddy, and you get a better price. The other thing with Google Apps is it comes with Gmail for your domain, essentially. So you can have, like we have, let me see, our 1-800-YouSoldIt.com. It's kind of like my We Buy Houses website. That's on Google Apps. My emails, if you email Jeremy at 1-800-YouSoldIt.com, it actually goes to my Gmail, and look, it's Gmail, but it has my domain name attached to it. So you get all the benefits of Gmail without having a Gmail address that looks, doesn't look very professional. I don't know how many guys I see, if there's probably a few of you in the room, but they'll drive their truck, electrician truck, and it's like John Smith at Comcast.net, tattooed on the side of their truck. They pay all this money and have this lettering. It's like, well, you just, Comcast is going to see your truck and say, wow, I guess he's never going anywhere. So never use your, for $10 a year, get your own domain name. Don't use Comcast or Verizon.net. So you're putting your roots in that provider, and now it makes it difficult to change. So there's a reason that they gave you a free email address, because they want you to use it, but don't. So, you know, for $10 a year, get a domain name. It's really professional. Give out a business card that says, you know, John at, you know, whatever, johnbuyshouses.com versus just johnbuyshouses@gmail.com. You know, so that's that. There's for $10 a month. You know, here's the Bitly link is like kind of a direct link where you can go. It also allows you to see what domain names are available. If you want to buy a domain name and check to see if it's available or not, it's a good place to go. Bitly/domain grab is a quick link to get to the free version. There's a charged version which google.com/A will get you to, you can buy the domain name, you can get the Gmail for business, but all over the place it says, do you want to pay this much, pay this much, pay that much, and in real small print it says, oh yeah, here's the free version. So this Bitly/domain grab, I just set that up so that I know, like, if I think of a domain name that I want to buy, like, I'll just be driving down the road like, oh, I got a good idea. And I'll go to the website, buy the domain, instantly, I own it, I have, you know, and I have email at that domain right away. It's, when I say it's free, Google Apps will charge businesses per user per month. So let's say an enterprise organization, they're charging $25 a month per user. But there's a free version of Google Apps that gives you like, I want to say it's like 10, might be 10 users for free. And for, you know, for most small businesses, 10 users is plenty of users. You also can have like a catch-all email address, which basically, if you type in Bozo the Clown at yourdomain.com, it goes to you. So you can actually, you know, look bigger if you want to by having HR, accounts receivable at yourdomain.com, accounts payable at yourdomain.com. Well, it all goes to you anyway. But, you know, it's a way that you can put it on the website, give yourself a little bit, you know, more corporate look if you want to do that. The free part is just the monthly service fees that Google charges. For the free version, you can't call their 1-800 tech support number. You can look on the website and research yourself what other people have had problems with and how to fix them, but you can't call them up on the phone unless you're paying $25 a month per user. So I don't have any of those, you know, accounts that, you know, for $25. I have so many domain names. You know, hopefully they'll be worth something more. Let me see here. Any questions so far about what we covered? Am I, like I said, you don't have to remember all this stuff. Just, I'll send you a copy of the slide deck. You leave me your business card at the end of the meeting. And if you have any questions about it, I'm going to stay after the meeting. All right, let's go back to the ROI. All those links I was talking about, Bitly, these are URL shorteners. So just like when you have a separate phone number for your marketing, or you have, let's say, a separate extension for your marketing, you can also have a separate link for your marketing if you're sending out an email, if you're on a website. If you have a link on that site, you can track how many people are clicking that link by having a unique URL. So instead of www.myhousesforrent.com/12345 Main Street, you can actually have a little Bitly link that says Bitly/12345 Main Street. And you can run a report and see how many people clicked on that link. So if I send you an email in my signature file, there's a link to, hey, you know, friend me on Facebook or go to my website to check out this offer. All those links are trackable where I can actually see how many people clicked on that link and where they're coming from. So it's a great tool for, you know, like I said, if you're putting a link in Craigslist, even if you put something in the newspaper and you want to reference your website in the newspaper, instead of referencing your website, you could put a little short URL and have that short URL just forward to your website. By forwarding it there, you can see how many people actually looked in the newspaper and typed in that address. Whereas if you put just your main website in, you don't know where they're coming from. You don't know, oh, they saw it in the newspaper, that's how they got to it. You don't know that. So this gives you a way to get to the same place through different URLs and track exactly where you're coming from. So Bitly is the one that I use. It's got great reporting. Google has their own goo.gl, Bud URL. The original one I think was tinyurl.com. All these are for, what's that? The first one is Bitly, bit.ly. you know, if any of you use Twitter, you've heard of Twitter, obviously, but Twitter only allows you to have a certain amount of characters, 140 or 160 characters per post. So these URLs came about to shorten up a domain name instead of having this big long domain name, like, you know, the difference would be like South Jersey Real Estate Investors Association.com versus SJREIA.com. So somebody doesn't have to type that whole thing in. This is just a way, instead of people typing a big long address in, they can type in a short address, / and then whatever keyword that you put in. But it's great for tracking clicks, so you know where your traffic is coming from. Is it coming from my signature line in my email? Is it coming from the ad I put out there on Craigslist? Is it coming from the forum that I posted to? You know, whatever. So, any questions about that?
Is there a fee?
Yeah, these are all free. There's enterprise versions, which you probably don't need, and there's fees for those, but these are all free ones. All right. Let's see what else we can cover here. ROI. Okay, do another one there. All right, these are QR codes. I'm sure I was even just eating dinner out here in the lobby, and they had it right on the little condiments tray. There was a little ad, and it had these QR codes. QR codes, these little two-dimensional barcodes, two-dimensional barcodes were created back in like 1994 by a corporation, Denso Corporation, who was using them to track parts for Toyotas. So these things came out in 1994 and were used like in the corporate sector for these parts manufacturers. And not until recently in Japan, they were huge, probably, I don't know, five, even 7 years ago. And just recently, in the last couple of years, they've been popular in the United States. This is similar to like clicking on a website. You can click links, right? But it's pretty tough to click this table or click this projector and get to a website. This is kind of a way you can take the physical world and take it into the virtual world. So this allows you to come up here with your phone, or you see this on a menu, or you see it. This one I actually had, this first one here I actually had on a rental sign, and I think I was one of the first in this area to use that. I had it out front of the rental sign, and the property said for rent, and then it said secret message below, scan me with your smartphone. If you scan this barcode, it actually takes you to, on your phone, it takes you to the website that shows you the interior photos of the property, and it has the phone number to call, it has the rental price, all that kind of stuff. So it allows people to quickly interact. Same thing as like a short URL. In this case, you don't even have to enter anything on your phone. You just need to turn on your barcode application on your phone. All the manufacturers come with it, and automatically it's then taking me right to a website. All I just do is hold my phone up, and it's taking me right to a website. Question?
How do you create your own QR code?
There's an app for that. I call these squeeze codes. I actually have a technology to, when somebody scans that code, I can capture their phone number too. So it allows me. This one here is a prototype that I built for a car dealership. And this is a little sticker that goes on the car window. It says, "Scan me with your smartphone for more information, Carfax, and the price." So when somebody scans that thing, what it does is it sends a text message. That text message goes to a little server that I made that sees the text message and responds back to it with the information that the person requested. But I also just captured their phone number. So now I can, in Pennsylvania, where I think, is Jersey the same way, we're blue law state where you can't sell cars on a Sunday? Jersey the same way? So the whole idea was, okay, put these out on the cars, and when somebody's like browsing the lot on a Sunday, they snap that picture of the Audi. The next day, the salesman could come in and they get a whole list of all the people that were on the lot and their phone numbers. They can call and say, "Oh, I saw that you were looking at that foreign Taurus. Any questions I can tell you about?" So that's the way I designed it to work. So it's pretty cool. So you can generate these yourself. You don't have to pay a service to do it, and here are all the things that they do. You can make that little barcode, browse the website, you can bookmark the website, you can have it make a phone call, you can have it send a short message, a text message, you could have it send an email, you can have it, I had an app on here that actually has, if anybody has a smartphone, you can grab this right off my phone, it'll generate, right on my phone, it'll generate my business card. So there's my business card. If one of you just puts your phone up to this, automatically your business card, my business card is in your contacts. So we can actually import all that right in. It can navigate to a GPS location. So you can actually have on, let's say you have your website that shows your properties. On your website, you can have one of those barcodes. So they're sitting there at their computer, and they see the pictures of your property. Wow, I want to see that property. You have a little barcode there, and they can stick it on the barcode, and all of a sudden their GPS is navigating them to your property. So there's, boom, it's already pre-programmed, the GPS is guiding them there. So there's some of the neat things that you can do, and there's a whole list of what you can do here. This is a barcode generator. That's what you're asking for. I have a bit.ly link, bit.ly/QR, capital QR, vector, VECTOR. These bit.ly links, not only do I provide them for, I mainly made these for my own convenience, because what the heck was the name of that website? Well, with these bit.ly links, I can remember. Vector is, this website actually makes scalable barcodes. So if you wanted to put it on a billboard, like in this case, this was actually at a football stadium. This is Dick's Sporting Goods. So Dick's Sporting Goods put their barcode, and here you are sitting across on the 30-yard line. That goes up on the Megatron, and you just hold your phone up, and boom, you're at Dick's website for a coupon. That's amazing. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I bought QRCodeGuru.com. I'm like, man, I could use that. So I was saying this, the bit.ly links I actually created for like the one that I had domain grab to go buy a domain name, QR Vector. I just know that, I just remember in my head like, oh, I can just type that in and I go to the website, because I'm not going to remember the website any other way. So I just make it something simple that I can remember, I make a bit.ly link and then it's there. I can log into bit.ly anytime and look at all my links. I have certain property searches that I do, and I just make a bit.ly link for that property search instead of going to Realtor.com or some other website and clicking all the different boxes. What state are you in? How many bedrooms are you looking for? I do that once. I make a little bit.ly link, save it, and that's it. I never have to go back again. I just enter the bit.ly link, and it looks for that search criteria comes up. It's case sensitive, yeah. All right, I know I'm going fast here. I'm trying to. All right, let me see. This is one that's pretty simple, but this is when I say things I put in the TSA bin, I don't exactly put these in the TSA bin, but this is something that totally has improved my productivity, which still needs a lot of improvement. But if you guys have desktop computers, there's one thing that you can do that is just well worth every penny, is get a video card that supports 2 monitors and put a second monitor on your desk. So for $120 you get a monitor, maybe $100, and the video card might cost you $30. So for let's say it's $150, adding a second monitor to your desktop and having that dual monitors is phenomenal. Imagine you're putting a purchase and sale agreement together on one screen, and you have the public records on the other side, so you can see what all the data is that you need to put in. I mean, it's just so many. You have a PDF scan that you send to yourself, and you need to type up an email address. Having those dual monitors, my dad. I told him about this. My dad has a company, a home inspection company, radon, remediation, all sorts of stuff. He put it in all of his employees now have dual monitors, and he said their production has gone way, way, way up. If you have a laptop, they even have these zero height monitors, and they're monitors that they almost look like a picture frame with a little stand in the back.